Hey viewers, you all know what time it is. It is Pride Month, and I guess we're gonna get really personal here. So for today's episode, we are going to build my Ace Dream Getaway home, which is going to be in the middle of nowhere with a dog, a giant, big, fluffy puppy. And we are going to talk about asexuality as it pertains to me, because every person is different, and that's just not for aces, which is our short moniker there. That's literally for everybody. Everybody's different. I mean, yeah, some people may overlap, but you know, someone may have certain preferences that others don't, and that's okay. But first off, I didn't do this recording because I didn't know if it turned out well, and then I got really upset because it did turn out good. Look at this pretty pond I made. Like, I was just messing around. I'm like, yeah, I want to do some landscaping on this one. And literally just make a pond for this dog that doesn't exist in my life. And yeah, it came out nice. And I really like it. And look at that. A non-flat terrain.
What is asexuality?
So asexuality is a lack of sexual attraction. A lot of people will get this misconstrued with other things which may overlap but may not. For example, asexuality isn't a romanticism. It does not necessarily mean someone isn't romantically attracted to people. Asexuality just means we lack the sexual attraction to people. Now, before I go into micro labels and smaller things, we're going to keep this very basic. So there are gray asexuals, demisexuals, people who pretty much fall under the asexuality umbrella, but they have more fine-tuned details. We're going to keep this broad and based on me. It's my video and my experiences. So I can't really speak for, obviously, other people. So pretty much no sexual attraction. Good. Cleared that up as simply as I could.
Could it be medical? Have you seen a doctor?
Normally, I hate this question. I hate this question so much because it feels like it's invalidating people. But to answer it truthfully, yes, I've had physical checkups. I've gone to therapy to work it out because, full disclosure, when I was younger and kind of working this through, because this wasn't really I mean, it's barely talked about now, and back when I was younger, it was definitely not talked about. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I assumed something was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me, obviously. But lacking something, especially something that seemed like happened to most people, yeah, it freaked me out, and I didn't embrace it or even handled myself and the situation very well. So I did go to doctors, did go to therapy, try to figure out what was wrong with me. And physically, mentally, nothing. So again, fine-tuning the definition of asexuality. It's nothing to do with your libido either. Like, okay. This is a very personal video. But yeah, my libido / my drive, it's active. It's there, it exists. It's just, it's not directed at anybody. Not guys, women, non-binaries, anybody. So it's kind of how do I put this? Say you're all worked up in a room full of puppies. You wouldn't do anything, I hope. I beg of you not to. Yeah, so it's like that. Except the whole world is a room full of puppies. And that's the best analogy I can come up with at the top of my head right now. So yeah, not medical, seen a doctor, seen everything. I'm not broken.
Why is talking about asexuality important?
Talking about it is important so people who could be asexual, like little kid me who didn't know. I say little kid, and it's really me up till like 19. It's to help those, if we never talked about it, we honestly would never learn. And then, like, younger me, it was kind of this hole I couldn't explain that I felt about myself. So that I am not very good at talking very personal about myself. I'm like, no, not recording, just in case I like look like I'm crying. I'm not crying. I'm fine. But okay, for example, I have an example. When Todd from BoJack Horseman, the Netflix series, when he came out, and with this whole phrase like he feels like he's nothing and stuff like that, a lot of people empathized and felt what he felt, and they realized, hey, they're also not broken. There's possibly an explanation of what they're feeling too. And that's why it's important. That's why we should be talking about it. Just to help us. I mean, and not even just us. Like, you know, even like people like near us. You know, you got families, friends, partners, co-workers. Like, oh, like that. I live in a very conservative area. And I'm not really out to them, because it's not that I don't trust them, it's just that I know it's going to be a whole awkward situation. And people are acting strangely about me. And I don't want that. And I also don't want to go on like a whole like essay of a spiel anytime I tell anybody about my my sexuality, even though I try not to bring that up at all to like random people. To my friends, yeah, and people I'm out, sure, because I'll make jokes about it. But yeah, it would be easier if it was just a thing, then people knew that thing existed and people accepted that thing existed. So it wouldn't be like oh man, if I mention anything, I'm gonna take 30 minutes out of my day to explain this to somebody and answer most likely very inappropriate questions. People really like to be inappropriate. Like, I'm not answering on this thing because I'm pretty sure YouTube's like, no, don't mention that word. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's like, if you guys could guess what I'm thinking about, how can I say this? Self-woohoo. Can't get me on the word woohoo, can you, YouTube? Yeah, people really like to go to that question first. And it's like, hey, what a weird question to ask me, stranger I don't really know. But yeah, if it was more visible, it would just be like a huge weight off my shoulders.
How did you first know you were asexual?
So, I don't think there was a time where it's like, ding, I realized it. Because again, this is a lack of something. Not like a, oh hey, I thought that girl was really pretty type thing, and you question it. It was pretty much, it's kind of always in the back of my head ever since I was younger. When I was like 4 or 5 years old, I used to play in a sandbox with this kid named Bruce. And sorry for name dropping you, not that this person's ever gonna find me or find this video. And it was fun, except then my mom's friends, they all kept joking around how cute we were together, how we're gonna get married one day. And I freaked out at like 5 or 6 years old, started crying, and told Bruce I could never play with him again because the idea of being married just scared me so much. As a little kid, like, honestly, I didn't even know, like, if it's my asexuality that brought that fear of, I don't know, baby me was just like, marriage, you know? And also, sorry, Bruce, I was never friends with that kid ever again. Like, that's how afraid I was that because we were friends and a boy and a girl, like, we'd have to get married. So I guess that's probably the first inkling of me being asexual. I guess when I finally learned the word for it, I was around 19. And at that time, like, I was like between like 18, 19, I think, I started wearing binders. And it was weird because I didn't feel like it was a trans thing, or even now as an older person who still wears binders, like, I don't even feel like it's a non-binary thing. The world is like, hey, do you want big boobs? And I was like, no thank you, but I didn't care. And I remember Googling when I was a teenager, saying like, hey, and at the time, you know, I assumed I was straight. I was like, hey, is there any other straight people who, you know, want a flat chest? And yeah, people thought I was weird. Like, even internet people were like, no, that's weird. Until someone sent me to Avon, and they're like, hey, I think you might be asexual, which not necessarily would correlate between the two, but it just happened to match up for me. And that was when I learned the word, and I realized there are people like me. And it was... Nope, not crying. Serious voice. And it was a very kind of, like a piece of a puzzle that's missing, just like fits into place. Like, it unlocked a part of my life that would, you know, be part that I would, I mean, it's always that was always a part of me, but I can now see it.
Would you date or marry someone who wasn't asexual?
Honestly, unless that person was really cool with the fact that they would have to sleep with other people and not me, for the most part, probably not. Like, I'm not opposed to the idea of physical open, actually, any type of open relationship. I'm like, yeah, go on, I don't care. It doesn't really affect me or bother me, as long as the person, like, returns. That sounds like a weird statement, but yeah, so if they were okay with that, maybe, but not a lot of people are. It's not like the movies where, like, oh man, the guy's like, wow, you have a wife who lets you sleep with all the other women you want? How cool. Like, that's not in real life. That was just like 90s, early 2000s sitcoms. People generally, that I've noticed, you know, find physical intimacy with the person they are romantically interested very, very important. So, honestly, that just feels like, unless I was like, my brain just like dinged, I was like, this is someone I love, and yeah, let's make this work, maybe. But for the most part, it's so much easier, I feel, to date other asexuals.
Have you ever been in love?
Okay. This question. I've been in platonic love. You know, there's, you know, the love you feel for your family, the love you feel for your friends. And I feel those all very strongly. Romantic? Maybe? Like, I feel like I've had my heart broken. I think. Like, I was sad drinking tequila out of a sippy cup, heartbroken, so maybe? But at the same time, oh god, that's happened to me a few times. It's even Avengers sippy cup too, by the way. And don't ask why I have a sippy cup. I just went through a phase where I bought everything with Hawkeye on it, and I'm like, oh, it's a Hawkeye sippy cup, sure. So yeah, like, I think so. But I'm not, again, back to whatever question I answered this before. I'm not sure because I have no reference. Which again, sorry. I'm so sorry for these indefinite answers.
Do you consider yourself part of the LGBT plus community?
Oh boy. Yeah, here's another question. So, there's kind of this, like, sucky part of the community. Which, sorry, but, you know, it's important to talk about the flaws, too. Is that, even in the LGBT plus community, and on top of, you know, there's not a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of, asexual exclusionists? Yeah, let's call them that. Yeah, there's a lot of people who just don't like us, which is the weirdest thing ever. Like, what are we doing? Literally nothing. Like, why are people mad at this? We should be, like, the easiest sexuality to understand. Like, what's your sexuality? None. Cool. Done. Right? You would think so. But yeah, there's a lot of people who get mad that we exist in the community. Because the community is basically just cisgendered heterosexual people. And that's it. That's like the one criteria. If you're that, which is perfectly fine if you are. Like there's this idea, I guess, that people think like, oh, if you're cisgendered or heterosexual, like, oh, how dare you? But that's not the issue at all. Zero issue about that whatsoever. But yeah, a lot of people count, like, for instance, bi people, pan people, asexuals, anyone who passes as straight, which I'll admit, it makes things easier occasionally. Like, if I'm in a situation, like, I, for the most part, can blend in. Like, sometimes I'll just talk and people are like, they doubt it. But mostly I get people assume I'm a lesbian. Look, I don't, no issue admitting when girls are pretty. Like, or guys. I'm like, yeah, whoever. Someone's pretty, they're pretty. Oh, I should probably explain that too. Alright, pinning the LGBT question and going to the, finding people pretty part subcategory I'm making right now. Yeah, like, I'm not blind. I can see when people are attractive. It's like, I mean, I know a lot of people use this analogy, and it is the easiest analogy. You can see a beautiful picture, you don't wanna it. That's it. I was like, you like looking at pretty things. We're all human. Humans like looking at symmetrical things and pretty things. I've watched the Megan Fox Machine Gun Kelly music video a lot. They're pretty. So sue me. So yeah, back to the LGBT plus thing. If I consider myself part of the community, kinda. I acknowledge and emphasize that asexuals are part of the community, but also if they don't want to because they don't feel accepted or they just don't want to, like, I understand that, I want to put a label on everything. That's fine too.
Does playing games like the 100 Baby Challenge that involves sex upset you?
Alright, so here's the thing. I'm not woohoo repulsed. In a way that I'm like, it weirds me out or scared. Well, I mean, it weirds me out a little bit. I don't really understand you guys. But yeah, I'm not gonna like run away and be like, screaming like out of fear or anything. It's not a phobia. But yeah, I don't mind with things like the 100 Baby Challenge, or I play Honey Pop. Anything where it's extreme to a point of comedy kind of style type things. For instance, like, I love horror movies and gore and stuff like that. I'm not like gonna murder anybody in real life or like think murder is cool in real life, obviously. It's just entertainment value in like an observer sense. Which is kind of weird. Like, I feel it's so very American of me to be like, yeah, murder, sex, same difference. It's all funny when it's on a cinematic screen. So yeah, Baby Challenge, Pearl woohooing 20-something other people doesn't bother me. I think it's funny. That being said, my little sim avatar, nope, never doing it. Even is the TV head version of me, like, nope, not doing it at all. Same with people making sexual comments about me. Don't like that.
Any last thoughts?
Final thoughts. Asexuality. Part of the LGBT community. Doesn't mean you're broken. Just means you're different, and that's okay. Because we're all different. We're all weirdos, honestly. Now let's look at my house, right?
All the choices you made, would you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? All the choices you made, would you make them again, again?